Hey guys, ChazmaN here. Unfortunately for me, the last few months haven't been great in terms of video game pickups, but luckily things improved in the month of September, and I really wanted to show some of the most notable things I picked up. So let's do it. To start out with, I picked up a copy of Tomb Raider 3 on the PlayStation 1. It's an adventure game that I bought off a buddy of mine for $2. Its retail value is around $10. It was developed by Core Design Studios and was published by Eidos Interactive. At some point I do think I would like to cover the original 3 Tomb Raider games on PS1 for my channel, so perhaps someday look forward to that. I picked up a copy of Need for Speed 3 for the PlayStation 1. It's a racing game that was developed and published by EA. Picked it up from a local thrift store for $2 and it retails for around $10. Racing games aren't my favorite genre of video games, but perhaps someday it would be kind of nice to maybe go through all of the Need for Speed games that I have. Might be kind of fun. Next up, I picked up another PlayStation 1 game called MDK. It's a third-person shooter that was developed by Shiny Entertainment, and it was published by Playmates Interactive. I picked this up from a local pawn shop for $1, and it retails for about $19. Now this game I thought was super interesting because I had never seen it before or heard of it. And based on the cover, I think it looks pretty cool, so I do think sometime in the future you can expect a video on it. Up next, I picked up a copy of Pac-Man World 2 for the Xbox. It's a platformer that was developed and published by Namco. I got it off a buddy for $2 and it retails for $8. Now I have heard of the Pac-Man World series for a while now, but for some reason I never really gave it a second thought, so maybe these are ones that might be fun at some point to do a video on. Is that something you guys might want? Comment down below. I snagged a copy of NFL Street for the original Xbox. It's a sports game that was developed and published by EA. I found it at a local thrift store and I paid $1 for it, and it goes for about $9. Now I think perhaps maybe at the end of this year or next year I do have something planned that I want to do that is football games related, so keep an eye out for that one. Next, I picked up a copy of Robotech Battlecry. It's a shooter that was released on the Xbox, and it was developed by Vicious Cycle and published by TDK Media Active. I bought it off a buddy of mine for $2, and it retails for about $8. Now, I do like robots, and I do like shooting, so who knows, I think maybe down the line this might be a game I'd touch on, but that might be a while. Picked up a copy of Star Wars Starfighter for the PlayStation 2. It's an action game that was developed and published by LucasArts. I got it off a buddy of mine for $2 and it retails for about $5. Maybe down the line at some point I may do a video on this one, but nothing planned as of right now. I acquired a copy of Drakon, The Ancient Gates. It's an adventure game that was developed by Surreal Software, and it was published by Sony. I got it from a local pawn shop for 50 cents, and it retails for about $15. Now this game for me is quite interesting. I've actually never heard of it or seen it, which is kind of surprising considering it is a first-party PlayStation or Sony game, so I'm mildly intrigued, and I do think at some point I will cover this one. I found a copy of Lollipop Chainsaw for the PlayStation 3. It's a hack and slash that was developed by Grasshopper Manufacture and published by Warner Brothers. I picked it up at a local pawn shop for $2 and it retails for around $24. You guys can definitely expect a video on this one in the future. It's a game I've always been kind of curious about, so needless to say I was very happy to pick up a copy. Next I got a copy of Def Jam Icon for the PlayStation 3. It's a brawler that was developed and published by EA. I also picked this one up from a pawn shop for about $2 and it retails for around $18. This game looks kind of fun, so maybe sometime down the line I will definitely do a video on this one. Next I got a copy of Puss in Boots for the Xbox 360. It is an action game that was developed by Blitz Games and published by THQ. Picked it up at a thrift store for $1 and it retails for about $6. Now I don't think I'll definitely be making any plans for this game, but if it's something you guys might want, let me know. My next pickup is Bully Scholarship Edition for the Xbox 360. It's an action game that was developed and published by Rockstar. I picked it up off a buddy of mine for $2 and it retails for about $11. Now I have played this game before and it is already one of my all-time favorite Rockstar games, and that's saying a lot considering how many games Rockstar has made. And it was also one of my favorite games when I played it back on the Xbox 360, so I think down the line you can expect some sort of video on it. Next up, I picked up a copy of The Amazing Spider-Man for the Xbox 360. It's an action game that was developed by Beanox and published by Activision. I got it off a buddy of mine for $2 and it retails for $12. Now I am a sucker for Spider-Man games, so I'm pretty sure that down the line you guys can expect a video on this one. To go with The Amazing Spider-Man, I also picked up The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox 360. It's also an action game that was developed by Beanox and published by Activision as well. I also got this off my buddy for $2 and it retails for about $15. And same thing as the other one, I do plan on maybe covering this at some point. Up next, I picked up a copy of Animal Crossing City Folk for the Wii. It's a social simulation game that was developed and published by Nintendo. I bought it off a buddy of mine for $5 and it retails for about $22. I'm not sure if down the line I have any plans to ever cover this game. I mean, I've been having tons of fun playing Animal Crossing New Horizons lately, so I'm not sure if the new game is going to affect me ever wanting to go back to that one, but who knows. I picked up a copy of The Last of Us Remastered for the PlayStation 4. It's a survival horror game that was developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony. I got this from a pawn shop for $5 and it retails for about $11. I have yet to play the original The Last of Us, so that's definitely a game that's been on my radar for a very long time. With next gen right around the corner, hopefully I'll be able to find a PlayStation 4 for pretty cheap, so I do hope to make a video on this one at some point. I snagged a copy of Days Gone for the PlayStation 4. It's a survival horror game that was developed by SIE Ben Studio and published by Sony. I also purchased this one for $5 at a pawn shop and it retails for about $15. This game looks kind of interesting, so I do think down the line again, once I'm able to get a PlayStation 4 for pretty cheap, I do plan on eventually covering this one. Up next, I picked up Ghost Recon Wildlands for the Xbox One. It's a shooter that was developed and published by Ubisoft. I picked it up at a local thrift store for $3 and it retails for about $11. This game I've been interested in for a while, so I do think at some point you guys can expect a video on it. I did pick up on its release date, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 Remake. It's a skating game that was developed by Vicarious Visions and published by Activision. I paid $40 for it, and I'm not quite sure if I'll do a video on it, but maybe down the line I'll do a video that involves it and its original games. I acquired a copy of Gex 64 on the Nintendo 64. It's a platformer that was developed by Crystal Dynamic and published by PlayStation. I picked it up from a local pawn shop for $5 and it retails for about $13. Now, I've never really given Gex a second thought, but upon testing my game, I kind of found myself having some fun, so I do think maybe down the line you can expect a video on this one. Up next, I picked up a copy of Pilot Wings 64 for the Nintendo 64. It's a 3D flight simulator that was developed and published by Nintendo. I picked it up from a pawn shop for $5 and it retails for about $16. Now, I've heard of Pilot Wings, but I don't really know anything about it, so maybe if down the line, if that's a video you guys might want, let me know. Lastly, I picked up a copy of Rampage World Tour for the Nintendo 64. It's an action game that was developed by Game Refuge and published by Midway. I bought it from a local pawn shop for $5 and it retails for about $25. Now, I did love playing this game as a kid many years ago, so maybe down the line I do think I would like to cover this game at some point. As an added little bonus for you guys, I finally picked up a working Sega Dreamcast. I bought it off a buddy of mine for $20 and they retail for about $70. That means I have just about every single retro video game console that I care about, and the only other one that I still need is a Sega Saturn. And that wraps up my pickups for September. And what did you guys think? Did you guys think any of my pickups were awesome or cool? What about you guys? Did you pick up anything great? If so, I'd love to hear back from you in the comments. And once again, guys, like always, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I love you, please be safe, and I cannot wait to bring you guys another video on EnteR ChazmaN. See you guys.